No way, baby.
Come on, do it for friendship.
I have no friends. I walk alone.
You're listening to the Lawndale Lowdown.
The Lawndale Lowdown.
You're standing on my neck.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. This is the Lawndale Lowdown. This is episode 4. My name is Mike, aka Ognok. I have with me Princess Pasta again, as always. I say again as if, maybe you went away and came back.
Maybe one day I won't be here. You never know.
Ooh, and I'll record an episode on my own, and what a snooze fest that will be. So we are here with a new show. He says as if, the previous show was an old one. We actually recorded that last year and just threw it up just for laughs.
Yes, it's recycled.
It's recycled garbage. Except don't ever say the word like that. So, we are going to, I think we'll just, without any faffing around, we'll just get straight into the episode, I think. Our episode for this time, which is... It is Cafe Disaffecto, Season 1, Episode 4, Outpost Daria Reborn, has the plot summary. Mr. O'Neill attempts to resurrect Lawndale's old cyber cafe as a coffee house where the youths can interact and perform. When Daria gets roped into the situation, she comes up with a unique brand of revenge. That sounds sinister.
Which it kind of is.
Yeah, the day has suddenly turned sinister. That's the wrong episode. Anyway, that's for the future one, kiddies. So, as the title suggests, the cyber cafe gets basically robbed, essentially, I think, or the window gets smashed anyway.
Yeah, someone throws a brick and steals a computer.
Yeah, as you do. So Mr. O'Neill decided to take this discussion and talk about how the internet works in society generally, and an interesting point given how it is today. So Daria basically makes a good point that basically people in cyber cafes ignore one another and just stare at the computer basically. So they're interacting less with people rather than more.
Of course, that just makes him decide to go off on one of his random tangents.
And he comes up like it's Daria's idea when I think really it's his, let's be honest.
Exactly.
I swear I think it's Mr. O'Neill's dream to open a cafe with performers and things like that. I think that's a dream of his. I really do.
Oh God. That would be a nightmare.
I think this was him taking a chance to try and live a dream of his.
And we see what a disaster that turned out to be.
Yeah. I don't know. His whole thing about, I do love thinking, have you ever actually been to a cyber cafe? The way he talks about it.
Oh, he probably went there all the time. Just the way he's oh, it's a tragedy.
Yeah. So, speaking of, have you actually ever been to a cyber cafe back in the day? Well, mind you, I don't know whether that's anything if you haven't had any. I went to one in town a couple of times.
They were big, of course, in the 90s and the shows. I can't honestly say I've ever been to
that's
a place that called itself a cyber cafe.
Yeah, that was probably more of a 90s thing, really. We're showing our relative ages here. Saying, I went to a cyber cafe when I was a teenager. Was I a teenager? Yeah, it was when I was in college, so yeah. Living back then. And I remember it just being it was just basically a bunch of computers with a little window that basically sold loads of chocolate bars and cans of drink, basically. They had jars of coffee and tea bags, and they made tea and coffee that way. They didn't have a machine or anything.
Like in this one where they have espresso machines and everything.
Yeah, clearly they were more advanced in Lawndale than they were in my neck of the woods. Then again. So, there's something about talking about college applications, which I think follows on a little bit from the last episode, with Helen saying, that Daria should be doing extracurriculars because that's what colleges look for. Whereas Jake helpfully, sort of, without realising it, backs Daria up on saying, nowadays they just look to see if you can pay.
And the look she gives him is just like one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, just the whole, you're not helping me. And so that leads her to Helen basically using it as a way, coming up with a threat, essentially a threat. Well, what Dari perceives as a threat of sending her to music camp again, if she doesn't find an activity on her own. And that leads to my favourite thing of Jake talking about, how come we don't play the flute anymore?
Yeah, she's like, you ran over it with the car.
And I already stopped playing it at that point. So that was it. So she decides to she decides to do fundraising. Right? She decides that she wants to do fundraising rather than actually performing. And
Which honestly is like the smarter choice.
Yeah, and she manages to convince. She manages to convince Jane to go with her by telling her that by suggesting she goes around and looks at the sort of taste people have in their homes, which she decides she wants to take pictures of the inside, which is kind of how Jane works. That does one of my favourite lines where she says, "Well, do it for friendship," and Jane just says, "I have no friends. I walk alone."
Yeah, that's like the best.
That's one of my favourite Jane moments. I feel like I'm saying that in every episode, possibly. Here's my favourite Jane episode. And then they meet, and the first person you see them go to is Mrs. Johansson, who is hypoglycemic, if I remember, yes?
Yes.
So she's not supposed to eat chocolate.
That doesn't stop her from wanting to buy all of their chocolate.
And spend, like, a ridiculous amount of money to take the chocolate off them.
It's crazy to me because she's like, give me the chocolate. It's almost like, it's like she can't go to the store and buy her own chocolate.
I mean, have you seen her? Mind you, she does manage to get out of the house and go to a store in a later episode, but...
Where I think she's buying chocolate.
She's trying to buy something. So she ends up basically collapsing. She says something about having to run up the stairs, but she ends up collapsing in front of them. Which leads to, I love it, Dari and Jane standing there saying, we should probably be doing something right now.
Yeah, like, I'm sure we definitely need to be doing something.
And Jane's reaction is basically take a photo of the house. which is about right. And then they end up refusing to sell her the chocolate anyway, because they don't want, basically, Daria doesn't want to, well, I think as she says to Miss Lee afterwards, she doesn't want to do time for manslaughter, basically. Even though Jane's saying, we could have made $5 a piece, and she goes, you always have to look at the downside.
Pretty sure Jane would have just given her the chocolate if it had just been her.
So there are other students doing things for the coffee house, and we have Kevin and Brittany turning up in DiMartino's house, which Brittany gave an interesting line actually of it was so thoughtful of you to wear your jersey.
Oh yeah, like he doesn't wear it every day.
I think, and I feel like that. I feel like that should have been that as a joke that probably should have been saved for a later episode, but there you go.
Yeah, that would have been useful to use later on.
Considering that's practically all he wears anyway, but so they turn up at the door and he's dressed out in a chef's hat and apron holding a chicken, and is he holding a cleaver in the other hand? I can't remember. He's holding
I feel like he was at one point. I don't know if
Or was he? Or is that something? I might be thinking of something else that I've seen, perhaps some fan art or something, but he's definitely holding a chicken anyway, and there's some weird banjo music going on in the background, which is quite funny. And just leads to him probably thinking, why can I not get away from these people?
Exactly, like his stew that he hates Kevin the most, at least.
Yeah. Something about, raising money for a new place to loaf, basically.
And I love how Kevin and Brittany are like better at trying to sell things than they are at anything else.
Yeah. They don't know if they even bother to sell him anything. I don't know if they even tried to sell him anything. Probably not. They seem to be trying to sell him every possible thing under the sun. They got wrapping paper.
Yeah, they have wrapping paper. They have what else? CD. Oh yeah, CD of the Month Club.
I remember seeing that stuff in the back of magazines all the time as well. CD and Book of the Month clubs. They're saying, you get this with no obligation to spend another penny.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay.
I always looked at those thinking, what's the catch? So, his comment about the wrapping paper saying, too bad the holidays aren't for months. I'm thinking, that's fair enough. So that's As I said, that's probably the funniest part. Just in terms of making me laugh was probably just the funniest part of the episode. And then you've got Quinn trying to sell a phone card to that guy.
And that's the part I actually found the funniest, like on my like fourth rewatch of this episode or whatever it is.
Quinn trying to persuade that guy.
Yeah, to buy the phone cards, and she's like, "Oh, you ever have static or on your phone when you're talking to your friends?" And he's just like, "No."
and yet she still manages to convince him to buy one. I spent ages. Every time I watch that episode, I look at Danny and I'm thinking, he looks kind of like an actual actor, and he does. And I can't for the life of me think who it is. I swear he looks like an actual actor. But I
feel like he's supposed to be based on someone, and I sat there for like 10 minutes trying to figure it out, and I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, I've watched that episode, I don't know how many times, and I just swear he looks like his appearance is based on an actual person. And it's weird, it just bugs me every time I watch it, and I still after all this time cannot figure out who, But if anyone listening has any clues, feel free to let us know and put us out of our ignorance.
Yeah, because I do want to know.
Yeah. So that all happens, and then Dari and Jane get called into the office because they need to Mrs. Johansson actually called the school because they refused to sell them chocolate. And this is the first indication of the type of person Ms. Lee is, that she's more concerned about the money. She'd rather have the money, and she was saying, you weren't going to. Did she ask you to feed her the chocolate?
Yeah, that's like my favorite part.
It's like just basically trying to say, show kind of she's kind of a bit of a mercenary, really. It's like, she was willing to. It's like she was willing to spend. She kind of like she was willing to spend all this money, and you wouldn't sell them. So
exactly.
Was it more than twice the asking price?
Yeah.
And says you do, and at least you do want the coffee house, don't you? And Dara just goes, I believe in coffee for everyone. And then basically she gets roped into doing a performance now because she doesn't want to carry on doing the fundraising. Yeah,
so she's forced to perform something.
Which you get Jane very quietly saying, "Pop goes the weasel" under her breath. which is the song that she had to play while at music camp all the time. So I read that. I'm thinking. So Daria told Jane about that then.
Well, she probably had to, and she had to explain to her why she was even bothering. Yeah.
And then they're just sat in the room. Daria's looking through her essays, basically trying to decide what she's going to read. And Jane's just basically saying, "No, it's too pie in the sky, too optimistic," and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And then she almost gives up and just says, "I wish," just where she just puts the papers down and just says, "I wish I was dead." And Jane says something like, "That sounds promising." It's just the thing. It's just that line where she's going, you've got to imagine Kevin and Brittany drinking your words like an elixir, and she's just going, "Are you marketing your own fragrance now?"
Yeah, exactly.
And she writes a new story, and so they have the opening night with all the weird performers, like the musician, the rock guy who basically smashes his guitar at the end.
That's like my favorite one.
He's just like, I still can't figure out where he's supposed to be from, by listening to him. I think is he supposed to be English or something, or Australian or something? I don't know. He doesn't sound American.
No, unless he just has this really bad fake accent.
And then you've got Andrea reading poetry, and then going to the back, and when she does it, they shine a flashlight on her, and I swear she's drinking beer when they flash the light on her. It's quick because she quickly hides the bottle when she realises there's a spotlight on her. I'm thinking, I keep watching that thinking, she's drinking beer. I'm thinking, what is she like? She must be, 15 at the time?
Yes.
It leads to Jane saying, "You don't want to do poetry for this crowd." Daria asks, "Is it too late? Is it too late to take up juggling?" Obviously, you've got Kevin and Brittany doing Romeo and Juliet, and of course, Kevin hasn't bothered, so it turns into a disaster, and she ends up beating him up.
Somebody just comes on stage with a skull, and the team's like, "Oh, Kevin."
Yeah, the team's cheering him on, and he's just saying, "Cool." They're saying, "But skulls are cool." And then we get the first, and then we get Daria, of course, who does the who does the melody powers thing, and it's just the way she does it. The way she starts off sounding like she's going to do a thing about, was it the future of people and everything, and then it suddenly turns into like this agent, this communist killing agent, basically.
My favorite thing is like how she tells the story. Like, you would never think she'd be good at telling a story just from the way she talks.
Where it basically turns into a communist thing, and everyone's actually cheering at the end when she's done as well. It's the first melody powers thing. It's like, well, the world is safe for democracy. Safe, or almost safe.
Yeah, like almost safe.
And it is just the way she starts off, and you think for the first sentence it sounds like it's going to be something, and then it turns into something else.
Yeah, because like they even show the crowd, and there's like a girl like falling asleep.
And then they suddenly wake up when they realise what's happening, and meanwhile O'Neill stood at the stage looking absolutely terrified, like oh no, this isn't going to go well.
Which is honestly funny when you think about a later episode, or like that comes up again, like that like communism, like it comes up again in the later episode, and he's very different in that episode.
Yeah, he seems to have a very different view of communism going later on, really.
Maybe that's why he was freaking out.
Because that ends to a report in the newspaper of there being an anti-communist rally or something.
Yeah, and Jake's like, "Can you believe there's these kind of political extremists in our town?"
And then I think the episode basically ends with the new coffee house being broken into, and they're trying to steal I think they're trying to steal the espresso machine.
Yeah, he steals like a giant espresso machine.
And you hear it basically fall over. And that is Cafe Disaffecto. And I like that episode. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes from season 1.
No, I'm sure if we go back and look at the season as a whole, we'll try to figure out, okay, where does this fit in? Yeah, it's all about priorities. It's sort of, is it blackmail technically what they're doing to Daria, or is it it's sort of more coercion?
I mean, it's not necessarily blackmail, but I guess it could get that way.
It's not kind of a bit of a fun way of not a fun way of doing it. What am I talking about? It's an interesting way. It's an interesting way of getting her to do something anyway. So we have this little thing that we like to do where we put clips in, or I like to record clips and play them for some reason. So here's a little bit early on about Kevin wondering why he should care about Shakespeare.
Sorry, you're a chick, right?
Why? You have a biology test today?
Like, why should I be interested in anything the Shakespeare guy says?
You? Well, Hamlet has a skull in it.
That's kind of a vision of things to come when he turns up on stage at the with a skull on it. Just it's weird how it just seems an innocuous comment and you don't realise there's a setup until the end. Well, I didn't realise when he just walks on stage with a skull. That you promised you'd learn your lines. So
It's just like, well, this is cooler.
yeah, and then just that line as well. Daria, you're a chick, right? Why? Do you have a biology test today? It's just this is a dumb thing. That's sort of the dumb thing Kevin would say anyway.
Exactly.
So then there's this, which I've just called it visionary. So.
So, in your opinion, what we really need is a return to the traditional coffee house of yore, where you'd watch some performers and share a cup with your friends, face to face.
You're a visionary.
Right here and now, let's pledge to make Daria's dream a reality.
You mean the one where people walking down the street burst into flames?
I'm pretty sure that's a dream I've had before at some stage.
I think we've all had that kind of dream.
Or just one where people get gunned down or something horrible like that. There's an extra look into my psyche that I'm sure everyone wanted.
Now everyone knows you're crazy.
Everyone knows the truth. Oh dear, I can't hide it now. A little thing about extracurricular activities.
You know, Dari, it wouldn't hurt you to get involved in some after-school projects once in a while.
Can't talk now. I'm chairing a meeting of the Resting Quietly Club.
I love that line.
Are you saying resting? Rusting? What is...
Yeah, resting quietly. She doesn't want her to bother her, basically.
That's that would be a fun report. Her just basically reporting on her and Jake sitting there reading the paper.
Yeah.
So then music camp comes up.
Because otherwise, we might have to make up for it over the summer. Send you to music camp.
You wouldn't.
What a great idea. How come you don't ever play your flute anymore, Daria?
Because you ran over it when I was in 5th grade, which was 2 years after I quit playing anyway.
So,
I just love the way she says it, like, because you ran over it. It's great.
yeah. I know, yeah. So, and I don't play anyway, so... Of course, she does play some musical instruments later on. Well, she plays one.
Yeah, one.
That's not in this. That's not in this episode, though. So...
Maybe that one about feeling like a big misfit whom everybody hates. The other kids will really relate to that. I know I do.
I don't know if that's such a great idea. That's the one that compares the sophomore class to barnyard animals. It names names.
Oh yeah, so that's a suggestion that she could read an essay. Yeah.
I love how he's like, I know, I feel the same way.
Yeah. I wonder why. It couldn't possibly because you're ever so slightly creepy now, could it?
Of course not.
Yeah. So yes, Jane has no friends.
No way, baby.
Come on, do it for friendship.
I have no friends. I walk alone.
Well, then do it for sisterhood or something.
Are you nuts?
Then do it for the opportunity to look inside people's houses and find out what screwed up taste they have.
I'm bringing a Polaroid.
That's all it took to convince Jane to go along. give her a camera and she'll just take the photos of the insides of people's houses. No doubt they'd make interesting paintings later on, probably.
Knowing the people of Lawndale, definitely.
So here's just the beginning of the whole DiMartino thing, anyway.
Well, Kevin and Brittany. What a delightful surprise.
just like, you can clearly tell he's already, he's already thinking, this is not good.
Can you imagine being him and trying to take whatever piece in your day and then your 2 worst students show up at your house?
Yeah. And of course, I thought just when you thought your day couldn't get any worse, they turn up where you live. Exactly. And now they know where you live, although they'd probably forget.
Yeah, I doubt they'd remember.
And then we've got Quinn talks to Danny.
Listen, do you want to come over tonight? My folks went away for the whole weekend.
Yeah. I mean, sure, Quinn.
Oh, that's okay, Danny. I understand. I'll see if Pete wants to come over.
But I said...
Bye!
Wait.
Click.
I just love the way that conversation in itself convinces him to buy a phone card from her.
I love how he's like, wait, who's Pete?
Who's Pete? It's like a real phone conversation, and he's just... it shows how successful Quinn is, that when she's been selling the phone card, she comes back in with a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, she's like, I need more phone cards.
I need more phone cards. Now, speaking of Quinn, there's Daria giving Quinn the Heimlich maneuver after talking about giving Quinn the Heimlich maneuver after Mrs. Johansson falls over.
Uh-oh.
Did she hit her head?
I don't think so.
Do you know CPR or anything?
I once gave the Heimlich maneuver to Quinn.
Did it work?
She wasn't choking.
I just wondered what sort of situation would arise that she'd do that. Just for the hell of it, I suppose.
I was going to say, I could see her doing it for no reason.
Well, as you said, she wasn't choking, so... that must have hurt. Camera. So, this is just a continuation of that, then.
We should be doing something now. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's interesting. Let's just take a photograph. There's not much more to say about that, really. That's just... we should be doing something. Click.
Typical Daria Jane.
Yeah. So talking about the hospital, then, I think this is more of the same scene. I think.
Give me those chocolate bars.
Thank you for your offer, though, ma'am, and for caring about the students of Lawndale High.
We could call your doctor or the hospital if you like. Otherwise, we'll be going.
I don't need a damn doctor. I need a damn chocolate bar.
She really wants some chocolate.
That's like my favorite line. Like, I don't need a damn doctor. I need a damn chocolate bar.
Well, there's a line, and she appears in, was it psychotherapy, where she's in the, she's at Quiet Ivy. It's just something like, at least the chocolate bar never told me I was an accident.
Yeah,
and the doctor says, what did the chocolate bar say to you? I thought the doctor's kind of, well, that's a future episode. I was going to say, that was quite a sarcastic doctor, really, but anyway. Here's sort of the aftermath. Here's Dara and Jane thinking of the aftermath of that. Anyway,
$5 a piece. We would have made over $100.
Yeah, and all we had to do was take a human life.
You always see the downside, don't you?
pretty much. Yeah. So that's all. Again, that's what's that's what leads to them ending up in Miss Lee's office anyway, which leads to another funny line from Jane.
How do you know it wasn't for her family?
She has no family. She ate them.
It's just like the size of her.
I completely forgot about that line when I was watching it again. I couldn't stop laughing.
Just yeah. And then the other line, the coffee line.
I believe in coffee. Coffee for everyone. But I don't want to sell any more chocolate bars. It makes me feel dirty.
The bad kind of dirty.
I love the clarification there.
The bad kind of dirty. This is just... It's like you think about they're having this conversation with their principal.
It's weird that. So then, of course, there's Daria looking through her essays with Jane just sat on the bed. I think she's looking through her music, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Listen, you gotta give them something they'll really appreciate. Picture Kevin and Brittany drinking in your words like an elixir of knowledge. Heady, potent, seductive.
You marketing your own fragrance now?
Quite possibly.
It would work.
It does sound like a fragrance advert. Get your new cologne here. I don't know. I could if I was more on the spot. I'm sure I could think of a name for it. But anyway, and we have Andrea's contribution to the coffee house opening night.
I'm here. But where are you? Sure, I see your body. Anybody home in that rotting bag of flesh?
See, you don't want to do poetry for this crowd.
You think it's too late for me to learn juggling?
No, I've only just noticed listening to that sound clip now that I can hear them in the background saying, "This is horrible. This is
I was
horrid."
gonna say that. Yeah, they're like, "Oh my god."
I've never heard that before.
You did it.
I've never noticed that before.
Those are my favorite parts because you can hear the people in the background be like, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah, that's literally when I was just listening to it now. That's the first time I've noticed that. Yeah, and then for one last clip, we have a clip of the Melody Power stuff.
Melody brushed some errant grains of sand off her fingers, tied her top back on, and reached into her beach bag. Tonio heard nothing, and that was a pity, because he would never hear anything again. "So long, Tonio," she thought as she calmly stood up. "I could have loved you if you weren't as red as the bloodstain now spreading across the sand."
Did I hear something reacting in the background of that, like somebody was getting upset?
It sounds like... for some reason, I feel like it could have been Brittany, probably.
Possibly O'Neill off to the side, knowing him.
Oh yeah, crying.
Yeah, so that anyway, that story ends up getting a huge reaction from everyone. So that was unexpected, quite frankly. Well, that's one way for her to get revenge for being forced into it, I suppose.
Even if they never knew it was her.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, that's about it for that. So yeah, that was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It's one of my favourites from that series. And so it's the long-awaited return in that we didn't do one next week. We're going to do a little bit of a fan fiction type thing this episode. A very last-minute one, because we're really good at thinking up of ideas for this. And
Clearly.
so I basically had a late idea of, hey, why don't we talk about original characters and any interesting ones? And I did put this to the Paper Pusher message board, the fan forum, and got literally one response. Have I had any since? Have I had any more since then? No. So basically, put out there to suggest, original characters that people found interesting or just liked, and I didn't really get any comments. I just got a list of characters that we should talk about, which it was actually sent to us by Precambrian Studios on the forum. So it said you probably want to bring up Veronica Morgendorf, and now we've talked about this beforehand, and we've not really read anything with that character in it. I mean, I know she's sort of originally like a third younger Morgendorfer sister, I think.
Yeah.
I remember,
yes.
and then the character's been around for a while and used by a bunch of people, so I've not really read anything significant with her as a character. So I think you said you've not read anything with her, have you? So
I did read a one-shot that I vaguely remember, months ago, that I can't remember much of.
yeah. So that was So that was, as I say, I've not got really much to say about that. I mean, there was Mine, which not mine as in something I did. It was a story called Mine, which featured Daria having a child called that she named Veronica, but that's kind of a different thing, I think. I mean, it's obviously based on the same thing, but I mean, it's not the same character. So, and I honestly don't remember anything about that, because it's been so long since I read it. So. The other one suggested was A.P. McIntyre, which, if memory serves, he is in the Lookalike series.
Yes.
Yeah, which I read a while back as well, and I remember him basically being a crazy sort of... I remember him doing science things that often resulted in things possibly exploding and things like that, and him having a crush on... Lynn Cullen, the other character, I think. I could. It's been a while since I've read it, so it's been over a year, I think, and I'm doing this from what I remember. So you didn't read all of that, did you? Or did you read any of it at all? I can't remember.
I didn't read any.
No, I don't remember. We have discussed it before briefly, but I couldn't remember whether you'd read it. So he's a character in that series, and yeah, that's all I remember. And I remember him being just a funny character, I suppose. Kind of a foil to sort of the more sinister things that are going on in that thing. He's sort of more the crazy lunatic stuff, basically doing weird science things and blowing things up. So that's who he was. So this is why I would have liked people to put their own comments in. Anyway, that's not.
To be fair, you only gave them a day.
I only gave people a day. Yeah, I literally. We're recording this on Friday. I put the post up late on Thursday, so it's my fault. So I apologise. And the third character was Cassidy, but that's mine, and that is my character, and I don't want to. I don't really want to go into that. I don't want my own creations to be taking over the show. In all honesty, so yeah. So that was the character suggested. Personally, the only original characters that spring to mind are, the first ones that spring to mind were, speaking of Precambrian, the ASPS, or I would say ASPS because that's how it's spelled. I mean ASPS, but I mean it's ASPS.
Yes.
That's what the badge is that they have. So I like how sort of a diverse group of characters they are. Sort of, and just they all. I don't know about you, but I do think they all sort of are quite well defined, sort of quite strong characters.
Yeah, they're I like all of them just for the sheer fact that it's rare to see just a group of OCs that are completely different that you can recognize. They're not interchangeable in any way, because a lot of people have trouble with that. But yeah, I like them. I think Gage is my favorite.
Now this is the part I always get the two of them mixed up. Now Gage is not the one with the eye patch, or is he the one with the eye patch?
No,
he's not. No, it's those two. I always get the names mixed up. It's the one who gets called an emo and the one who has the eye patch, and it's like I always get the names of those two mixed up. Gage is also is Gage also the one that my memory's a sieve right now. Gage also the one that does sewing, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. He's the sewing. Yeah. I apologize for my terrible memory of these things.
Well, I mean, you did remember it.
I'm tired. I woke up. That's what I'm blaming it on. I woke up 4 times in the night last night, and it's wrecked me.
Sure, you and your excuses always.
Yeah, I'm always coming up with excuses. So there's those characters. They added the 5th one. I say they. I meant he added the 5th one. Caris, which is an English one, which sort of added a new. She's younger and sort of added. I don't know, she was more of a reluctant member, really. I think she kind of felt like you kind of got the feeling initially that she had to be. She felt like she had to be in there for some reason, or they were trying to convince her.
Yeah.
And then she eventually goes with it. And so there's that, and that was yeah. You always wonder when there's a group there and you add another one later on. You always wonder how that's going to work. And I think she fitted in quite well she fits in quite well, actually.
Yeah, I like the new addition.
Almost a more pleasant sort of side to them, really. In a way, she's got more of an innocence about them. Well, not an innocence, but she seems more of a quote unquote nice person than the others do, possibly. Or maybe I'm wrong. That's my read on it anyway. She obviously has a history.
No, I see where you're coming from.
But she seems like sort of the. I mean, obviously you've got. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? Ethan. Yes, I got that right. Yes. I was going to say Evan for a minute there, and I got no, it's Ethan. There's just 2 names I just generally get mixed up with characters because there's an Evan in canon.
Yes.
Is there an Ethan in canon as well? Yeah, there is. There's an Ethan in canon as well. Jaeger, that's the one. Is it Ethan Jaeger? Yeah. What's wrong with me today? This is what happens when we have a previous episode that runs smoothly, and now I'm falling to bits.
Now we have this.
Yeah. So I think that's a good group, and I'm just trying to think now. But in terms of the sheer number of original characters, I think Hallowed Halls of Fielding kind of just.
Well, that's its own. Like, I put that in a category of its own.
It's an original. It's almost an original. It's basically an original universe that kind of just happens to have a few canon characters in it. Really,
that's how I take it.
Then again, ASPS is practically its own thing, so probably even more so. Because that doesn't really, canon characters very rarely appear in that. So obviously, I think anyone who perhaps is vaguely aware of that series will know about Sue Bentley, of course, who. He's kind of the character that everyone loves to hate, basically, and that one of those characters that everyone wants to see get their comeuppance.
Except for you. I'm like, I just like her generally, but
that's interesting.
I always like the villains, so
yeah, I just thought, let's who knows, the villains don't always win. I mean, you only have. I mean, I'm sorry, the good guys don't always win, I should say. The villains occasionally do. I like a story, and I generally speaking, I do like an occasional story where the bad guys win. Just because, it's just different.
Yeah, it gets boring when you can kind of like predict. You already know the good guys are going to win.
There was a movie, I watched one of the Mortal Kombat movies. Was it one of the movies? And the bad guys actually win at the end. And I was surprised by it. I was younger when I watched that, though, and I remember being mortified at the time. That the bad guys won, but I look back at it now and think, no, actually, I like that. So as I say, Sue Bentley's kind of the big one, and I'm now there's that many of them. I'm now straining to think of a major one here.
I'm trying to think. Terry, I like Terry.
Oh
too.
Yeah, one of Tom's friends. He's the mafia guy.
Yes.
And he just basically, you got Terry, and you got you've got Pat, of course, who is just so over the top and hilarious. Which I think I can't remember whether I said this in the thread. He was one of my last bastions of hope of original characters who didn't turn out to have some sort of sinister side to them in the end, or some sort of darkness to them, and then He was my last. He was like the sun. He was like the sunshine of hope. He was like the last one. He was like, yeah, he's a good guy, you know. And then he ends up having that guy who Quinn cheats on him with, beaten nearly to death and taken away in an ambulance. I'm like, so yeah. Spoiler for anyone who's not read it.
I was gonna say, you just spoiled it.
To be fair, it's been there for years now, I think. So
yeah, that's an old part.
Should we even preface the preface the fan fiction section with saying, by the way, spoilers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty. There's gonna be spoilers here.
This is a series that's been going on for years now. I want to say probably started about 5 years ago now or something. I wasn't here. I wasn't in the fandom 5 years ago, and neither were you. But
no,
it's been almost 2 years for me. But yeah, I'm actually behind on that series. I need to catch up. But yeah, so those were the only two I sort of came up with. I don't know if you had any other major ones that we haven't already discussed. Just not necessarily from either of these stories. I mean,
trying to think. I've read so many stories; it's like impossible to tell them apart.
Yeah,
anymore.
the only characters of interest that come to mind are certain gender flipped characters, but that's an entirely different.
That's
a whole different discussion. Which is that might be a discussion we can have in a future episode. Actually, possibly. There's an idea. I should write this down while I come up with it.
While it's still in your head.
Because you know, seeing as I came up with this one at the last minute, yeah, I'm straining to think of anything else really. So, but you know, there's a lot of characters, and you know, if anyone listening, you're still welcome to make suggestions. We might just touch on them briefly in the next episode, whenever that might be. I mean. There's a point we did initially say we were going to do these every 2 weeks, but we're just going to do it whenever. Basically, because they're not timely. It's not like, you know, they have to be done at a certain point, you know. So we will put these out as and when schedules allow. So anyway, I think we'll get done with that, and we'll move into speaking of last minute things, Six Ad World, which is something I was just poking around and literally found just always a good source of things like this, BuzzFeed, you know, and it's millions and millions of lists, because that's what I think of BuzzFeed as, the list site. Is that pretty much what
that's pretty much all it is.
I found this, which is just a weird thing, and it's called it's a list of 20 things that probably should not exist, and I'm not sure that all 20 of these things actually do exist, but let's go through them. Let's go on a journey, shall we, kids?
I don't think kids should be on this journey.
Kids should not be anywhere near, although one of them does involve kids. At least one of them does. So the first one, faith-enhancing breath spray. It's a spray called, allegedly, as seen on TV, called "Believe in God Instantly." Surrender yourself to a higher power and never feel alone again. I'm sure this one immediately out the gate. I'm calling shenanigans on this one. I don't think this one's real.
Neither do I. It says, has it ever occurred to you that there may be a mysterious force ready to guide your life and bathe you in protective all? There's no way this is...
Miraculous pepperminty faith-enhancing breath spray.
Is pepperminty a flavor?
Pepperminty, it is now, apparently. It's not...
Like, the way they spelled it, it's not like peppermint, it's like pepper dash.
Well, for some reason, the woman on the cover... there'll be a link to this in the show notes, but the woman on the cover has... I don't know whether this is... I don't think this is actually on the original cover, that naked man sat on the shoulder. I don't think that was originally there. I think that's been added. That looks like somebody just put that over the top of it, to be honest. It does to me, anyway.
What is the significance?
I don't know.
Like, why?
Either that wasn't there to begin with, that was added, or the whole thing is just not legit, and I honestly don't think it's legit anyway. So number 2, blinged out bananas. It honestly wouldn't surprise me that people put gems on a banana skin, but why? What would be the point? There is literally no point to it.
It looks cool. Look at that. It's a glam banana.
It's probably an artistic thing, but I mean, you know, from an artistic point of view, it looks good, I suppose.
I mean, I'm not going to keep around an old banana peel just because it has gems on it.
No. So I don't know what you do with that. And now one for the kids. Oh, goodness me. Poopy time fun shapes. This is definitely...
This is totally fake.
Yeah. It's about to get poopy, it says. Make bathroom time fun again with the original Safe Glider adapter and poopy time shapes. What will your kids poop up? And it's basically a bunch of what I describe as filters with shapes on them. I don't know how they work, and I'm not sure I want... I'm not sure I want to
know how they work.
I don't want to know. I'm pretty sure I know how they work, and I'm thinking, no. There's no way that one's real.
No, but it does make me think who thought of this and then spent their time making this.
Okay, number 4, electric bath ducts. Now, come on now.
This could totally be true because
this could be right.
It looked like those cheap things you see in those random 99-cent stores.
I think it's a joke thing though. I think it's a real thing, but it's like a joke product. It's not something somebody's mocked up. I mean, it says on the pack, electric bath duct, suicidal tendency, one use only. Oh God, I didn't even read that first.
It's like, never mind.
Okay, so yeah, we'll move on quickly from that, I think. That's okay. Denim jeans frying pan, a non-stick fry pan with denim jean design. Yeah, probably. That's probably real.
Probably real.
Curious. I don't even.
I mean,
it's a frying pan with a design on it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Number 6, eyeball jewellery, which to all the world looks to me like that's on a statue.
Yeah.
That's not a real person that's on right there. That's some sort of statue. It looks like plastic or, from the white bit.
You know what? But I feel like I've seen this picture before somewhere.
Probably. It looks like one of those things that does the rounds. It's basically, it looks like a plate. It looks like a plate that's got like a little jewellery thing hanging off it on the eyeball. Yes. Number 7, testicle shampoo. It's German, so possibly. No.
You just offended all of our German fans.
I don't know. Weird things come from Europe. I say
you would know more than me.
I say we're fully aware that I live in Europe. I'm more concerned, to be honest, testicle shampoo. I'm more concerned by the colour of it. Very weird yellowy colour.
Oh God.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure that's not a joke either.
It probably totally is.
Yeah, somebody's probably made that as a joke. 8, meatball bubblegum. No, that's probably real. That's
Look at the meatball guy on the front of it.
fully cooked and ready to chew. So yeah, hearty Italian style as well. So get in on that.
There's a cute meatball with a mustache.
Yeah, that's real. That's definitely real. That will be a real thing. Number 9, Wonder Sauna hot pants. Health Watchers of America. Health Watchers of America. Look better, feel better, wake up your body. Slenderize exactly where you want.
Like what?
They're inflatable pants, by the looks of it.
Yes.
Quickly reduces inches from your hips and thighs. How does that even work?
I feel like looks like a pool floaty. Wonder if you could wear those in the pool.
Yeah, wear those in the pool. And you'll be able to swim anywhere you want. You see that I can get behind. Although you'd probably look a bit silly wearing them, but ideal for those who can't swim. Number 10, Paula Deen butter flavored lip balm.
I mean, they've had weirder flavored lip balms.
Is there? There's something about. Oh, okay. So, looking at the different angles, I'm guessing the tagline is it. Put a little south on your mouth.
Oh my God.
Oh dear. There we go. That's yeah. So weird flavored lip balms.
Remember that.
Yes. I don't know. 11, designer Vaseline. So it's basically Vaseline tubs with gems on the outside. Which, yeah, whatever.
Again, I mean, people put gems on everything.
Yeah, there's those iPads, aren't there, that have like diamonds all over them and things. So why not? 12, chocolate cheesesteaks. That I'm going to be honest. That doesn't look. It sounds weird, but it doesn't look. Well, it looks weird as well. It looks very bizarre. Cheesesteak is one thing, but I don't know whether that is in chocolate flavored bread. I can't quite tell.
They do make chocolate bread.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. But yeah, that doesn't look particularly pleasant, if I'm honest.
It confuses me. I have no idea what is going on there.
Speaking of confusing things, number 13, shaving dolls. You can shave the baby.
You can shave the baby.
It's a baby doll that has hair in everywhere, basically. And you shave it, obviously. It's
it looks like it's Chinese or something.
Japanese or not Japanese.
I mean,
okay, it's from Asia, so yeah.
That I could probably see.
Number 14, nose stylus.
That
looks like a joke.
I was gonna say there's no
So,
Why is the guy reading a map while
he's looking at he's looking at an atlas. So he's looking at a road map and he's poking his phone with his nose stylus.
That's so strange.
I don't know. Number 15, hand underwear, underpants for your hands. So it's basically fingerless gloves made to look like underwear.
That's probably those are probably real.
Yeah, that's a real thing. 16 man candles. Now these are I've seen these. These are definitely real things. I'm pretty sure.
Riding mower.
Were they actually? No, I saw them on the Yankee Candle website. Were they an April Fool joke? They might have been an April Fool joke.
They do have weird candle scents, though.
I want to look that up now because I'm for some reason I'm thinking that was an April Fool joke they did.
It could have been.
What are they called? I'm literally, this is great radio. I'm just looking it up now. No, I don't want to submit my email address.
Sure you do.
I mean, this list is actually a couple of years old, so I can't find them on the website. So it could be, nothing's coming up. So I think they were either a limited edition or they were an April Fool joke or something, but I'm not finding them anywhere. So
they do have very weird
Yeah, I've been in the Yankee Candle shop a few times. Yeah, they do have some interesting scents.
I think one's like Moonlit Walk or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is that supposed to smell like?
Yes. So that's enough. Number 17, umbrella shoes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've actually seen them out and about before.
I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, I might have also seen this picture. Little shoes with umbrellas over the feet because of course, why not? Or, you could just, it's a crazy suggestion, you could just wear better shoes.
Of course not.
No, why'd you do that? Okay. Okay, this one. I just love the picture here. Number 18, privacy sweaters. So, basically looks like somebody's basically put a sweater on inside out. So, well, the wrong way, basically. They put their arms in the arm slots the wrong way, and they put their head in the top. And there's a laptop in there. It looks like there's a laptop.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically... Yeah, I don't even know.
I need to do that.
No, I'm not here. Number 19, Pickle toothpaste. Because, yes, that's probably a thing somewhere.
Ugh.
I don't like pickles. So pickle flavor. The idea of pickle...
Yeah, that's gross.
Mr. Pickles, pickle flavor toothpaste. Make your breath pickle fresh. Yes, because pickles make your breath fresh. That's exactly what they do.
They do now.
Net weight 2.5 ounces, 70 grams. I don't know. Is that in America somewhere, possibly?
Probably. I've seen, bacon flavored toothpaste. So
number 20, probably in this day and age, given what you can get, probably not that weird. Cookie pizzas, which is a pizza with cookies on the pizza. They put the cookies on the pizza. That's reminded me of something now. They put something on the
I think I know what you're talking about.
They've put that's going to bug me now. But anyway, there's a picture of cookies on pizza, and I'm thinking, yeah, why not? That's a legitimate pizza brand, so why not?
Yes.
Full-size pepperoni pizza. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
they made the cookies separately. Now I see. They've made the cookies separately, and someone's put the pizzas on the cookies on the pizza. That's not an actual. It's not a cookie pizza.
No,
see, I feel like that's cheating somewhat.
It is because it's just cookies.
It's a weird combination. It's a weird combination that you have a pizza and some cookies in the same box. But I mean, yeah, it's just occurred to me that's cheating. No. I'm sorry, I don't accept that one. That's a cheat.
I know. It's like I feel cheated.
I feel so used. And that's that. So yeah, enjoy that. I was going to say that to be honest. That's not that weird of that wouldn't be that weird of an idea considering what you can get in pizzas and crusts now.
Yeah,
Pizza Hut doing their thing. Hot dogs and cheeseburgers and all that sort of stuff. Hot dogs in the crust, cheeseburgers. Cheeseburger pizza. Yeah, a little ring thing with little burgers with cheese on top and the crusts.
That's so bizarre.
Sorry, when it comes to stuffed crust, I'll have cheese, I'll have tomato sauce, or I will have nothing.
You're a man of simple pleasures.
Some would say I am a simple man. Right, so that was that. Link is in the show notes, and yeah, we're gonna. I think on that note, time to knock this one on the head. I think. That's actually made me hungry for pizza and cookies, even though I ate before we did the show. So.
But it was not pizza and it was not cookies.
It was neither of these things. So yes, that is it for this show. Next episode will be, I don't even know what. Mauled. We'll talk about Mauled
good.
next time, which is yeah. So that's another. This will be another enjoyable episode in the series, in the season. As for anything else, well, we'll try and let you know closer to the time if we think of anything closer to the time, but we don't know when we're going to be recording next, so who knows.
Whenever.
We'll keep it loose. Thanks to Kristen Beeler for that line, for a reminder of that line. And so you can get in touch with the show if you want. TheLawndaleLowdown.com. Yes, that's the website. I had to check then because, as I've said before, trust me to not keep everything the same. Twitter.com/Lawndale Lowdown is where you can find the show. If you want to follow us individually, you can do that. I'm at Ognawk, OGNAWK. Pasta is at pasta_goddess if you want. I don't know. Basically, you can follow us if you want lots of random weird shite, basically.
I was going to say, if you want, I don't know why you want to do that.
You could. If you follow the Lawndale Lowdown, you'll know when new episodes are coming up anyway. We have an email address if you wish to get in touch with us that way, lawndalelowdown@gmail.com. We have literally been inundated with no emails. We get emails from Twitter. That's who we get emails from. Twitter likes us.
Yes.
But that's one way to get in touch with us should you choose. And that's going to do it. So it's goodbye from Pasta.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Goodbye.
La 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 la. La 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 la.